What's up, Guru Nation? Let's demystify clinical research. Guru Nation, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. Really means a lot to me. I'm also going live right now on the side here. But if you're watching or listening or however you're consuming, thank you. I've been getting asked this question from career seekers or from people wanting to start sites, really from everyone in this industry of like, hey, what happens like in this industry during a recession? And I'm no expert, I'm no economist, that's for sure. This is not financial advice, but I think it's decent career advice and it's just opinion. So right now we're in October 2023. We've already had like layoffs at the CRO and sponsor side. Definitely like these non-conventional type of companies like DCT, they've been having layoffs. They've had layoffs. The sites are healthy. The sites actually can't hire enough people. And if you've been following my journey with Yuma Clinical Trials, you'll know that, staff retention has been a challenge just because the market's so hot. But eventually a recession's gonna happen. Downturns happen. If you're new to this industry, like post-COVID, all you've seen is up and up and up and up. Like that's all you know. But eventually things cool off. And this is still one of the best industries. I'm obviously very biased. One of the best industries to be a part of. I think job security, I think just the supply and demand of the workforce. The fact that it's so obscure makes the supply and demand for those that figure out this industry work in their favor. And, we haven't scratched the surface, I don't think, of what we actually can do as far as the opportunities that are in this space. Like this industry is always behind technologically. It's behind even like on the social front. The diversity issue's been a challenge in this space, from study participants to workforce. So all these things matter, right? Because there's just pent up demand. And we saw since COVID, the inability to fulfill this demand. And we're still, if you're at the site level, you're still experiencing that. Now, certain markets, maybe certain therapeutic indications cooled off. But if you're considering to get into this industry, if you're on the sidelines, or if you are in this industry already and you've wanted to make your next move, you should probably do it now, especially if it's like anything site related. So if you're on the sidelines and watching and trying to get in, right now is the best time to do it, because you want to get your experience should there ever be a recession. And let's say there never is, like a slowdown in this space. Almost impossible, but let's say for the next 5 years or even 10 years, there is no slowdown, which also might be possible. I think unlikely, but possible. Then so what? Then you've been in this industry longer. But if there is, let's say in the next 2-3 years, you'd be glad you started your site now, because it's going to get harder to get studies should there ever be a slowdown. Should a recession actually occur, it's going to be harder to get a job. It's going to be harder to get studies for sites. It's going to be harder to get an entry-level job. Anything you're trying to do, it's going to get harder. If you're selling software as a service, if you're trying to sell, if you're trying to launch a new startup, like in many cases, that's already gotten harder, especially the startup stuff, mainly because the financing has gotten more difficult with interest rates climbing as they are right now. But there's no time like the present. So starting a site, or landing a job as a CRC, or if you're a CRC, becoming a CRA. Like there's no time like the present, because one thing that I do know anecdotally that happened to me, I lived through the last recession, 2008. And I personally didn't recover from that till about 2012. So that set me back 4 years. And that was the Great Recession. And there was a lot of mistakes I made going into that I can take back, and maybe this time around, if we ever get to something like that again, I could help someone else from repeating those mistakes or making the same mistakes. First thing I didn't do is, leading up to that 2008 recession, I had no choice because I just got out of college and started the site in '06. I didn't perfect my site's operations, and I didn't get into other areas besides psychiatry. So psychiatry was like the first area, the first therapeutic area I got into. I should have diversified, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I just took what came to me, which was psychiatry, central nervous system disorder. Going back, it would have been nice to diversify right away. I should have got like an internal medicine PI on board and started getting some internal medicine studies. Really anything, dermatology, anything in addition to psych, because one of the things you want to do, whether it's owning a site or being a coordinator or like any kind of career, if you are already in this space, you want to get more skill sets right now. You want to build your skill set. So if you've been a coordinator for the last 5 years and you're sitting on the fence about, well, I've always wanted to be a CRA, but I don't know. Well, why don't you get some CRO or sponsor level experience right now? Because if that's something you've been wanting to do, what's keeping you from doing it? It's only going to get harder should the recession actually occur. Because what recessions do is slow things down and reduce opportunities. Now, some of the opportunities will still already be there for those that have experience, but not always. A lot of times the opportunities get reduced to the point where you got to actually take a step back in your career. In 2008, as a site owner, I remember it like it was yesterday. We had 3 or 4 studies doing relatively well. The next day, and that recession happened quickly. That recession happened like overnight. Banking crashed, the mortgages crashed, the banks crashed, the bailouts happened, but almost overnight. 2 of my studies, they told us no more enrollment, and the other one said, hey, prepare for enrollment to close soon. And then one of them kept going. So I went from having full staff doing like beyond full capacity. I think I had 4 coordinators at the time. I didn't lay any of them off either. We went from that 4 busy studies to just 1. And I got super nervous. And at the time, instead of making cuts like I should have, this is one of the reasons why I think it took me 4 years to recover. The market itself recovered in 2 years. I remember from 2008, around 2010, 2011, we started getting out of the recession. But the studies were trickling in around 2010. So if I would have just like held my position, this is why I should have been more diversified before 2008. I should have done it in '07, '06 during the first signs of a slowdown, because there were signs. I just wasn't paying attention. And those signs on a macroeconomic level are still there. So maybe this is the time to be preparing, like get diversified. If you're a site owner, open up different therapeutic areas, because right now sites are still busy. All therapeutic areas are still strong. If you're a coordinator, learn more skills. Encourage your site director, hey, maybe we should do different kinds of studies. Maybe I'll help you go out and find a specialist. Somebody in the live stream here said you need dermatology. Yeah, like dermatology, whatever you're not doing, try to bring another specialty to your clinic. This will benefit not just the business, but your staff. And then if you're a coordinator, like, and your site is not doing this, maybe you should look into other sites where there's multiple therapeutic areas, because another thing recessions do is slow down progress of R&D. Especially certain therapeutic areas get hit hard. And right now, they're all relatively busy. Weight loss is busy. Someone said derm. Derm is busy. Oncology is always busy. Metabolic conditions are always busy. Vaccines are busy. Maybe that keeps us busy for the next decade. Like I said, it's possible. But in case it doesn't, you want to have on your resume more experience and more of a robust experience as far as doing a multitude of different things. So more diversity as far as your skill sets are concerned. So if you're a coordinator, maybe learn how to do other things like quality control at your site, even without anyone telling you. Just review your staff members' work if you're allowed to. Most sites wouldn't mind you doing that. Most sites can't get people to do that enough. Hopefully you're at a company where, like Yuma Clinical Trials, where we actually give you a diverse skill set. Like Katie Welch, who you guys may know from my videos. She started with me almost a year and a half ago. Research naive. She went to be a coordinator, and now she's a team lead where she's actually managing other coordinators. So she's building her skill set. Now she can go, like, let's say a recession hits, let's say worst case scenario, something happens to Yuma Clinical Trials. Not only does she have coordinating experience and in multiple therapeutic areas, but she's got management experience. She's got training. She's got quality control experience. We're giving her little monitoring gigs on the side through my CRO. So she's got that skill set. And you need to find a company like this that's going to help you grow along with them growing. And if you're at a place where everything's streamlined and the industry's still hot, you might want to get out of that place and go somewhere else where they don't do that. Generally, smaller is better. Same thing. If you're on the sidelines thinking about, maybe you're a coordinator, maybe you're a CRA, you're thinking about starting a site, you should really consider starting a site right now. Now, don't go into debt doing it. A lot of people say, okay, I'm going to get a loan. First of all, that's like almost impossible to do these days. Second of all, even if you do, that's a bad idea. Those interest rates on these credit cards now are like 22, 27%. I think the max they can charge is like 30 or 35. You do not want to do that. But if you have a savings set up, or maybe you don't need to even quit your job. You can start your site on the side. Find a doctor that's going to be your PI. If that's your first step. That might take 3 months. Find a doctor that's your PI. Once you get his or her resume, it's going to take another 1 to 3 months to get a study for them. All right. Once you get that study, it might take another 1 to 3 months to actually start screening patients in that study. So you're already 9 months in. Like by the time you're watching this video, if you decide, yes, I'm going to take action and do this tomorrow, it's October right now. You're looking at summer of 2024. I don't think research is going to be slowed down by then either. So now's the time to do it. And if you need help with any of this stuff, other than finding a PI, you need to find your PI on your own. But as far as getting studies, helping you with your contracts and budgets, helping you with SOPs, all that other stuff, my company does this for you. Links underneath below. DSCS Site Network. You can call or text me 949-415-6256 or email me. It's Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. But you need to start thinking about what your long-term goals are and figure out, okay, well, why am I going to wait this long to do it with a recession impending? I mean, it's like, who knows if it's going to happen or not, but if you follow the macroeconomics of what's going on right now in the markets, half the people say, yeah, we're going to have a recession. The other half might be saying no, but it'll definitely be a slowdown. Well, why wait until something like that happens? Why not start doing things now where we're lucky enough in our industry that things are still hot, things are still picking up? So you should be out there if you're on the sidelines thinking about starting a site. I need to go, like, what are the first steps? I need to find a doctor. I need to then figure out, can we work out of their office? You can bootstrap it too. You don't need to go out and get in debt. That's the last thing I want you to do. And I also don't want you to quit your job. You can do everything like those first 9 months that I mentioned. Find a doctor, find a study, get activated, site initiation visit. Um, 9 months. You can do this on the side. You can do this on the weekends until you know for sure you're getting your first study. And now you're a site owner. And by the way, you have your experience still on your resume of whatever it is you're doing in clinical research. So never been a better time to get started than right now. Recession or no recession, definitely lengthen your time frames as far as when you think you can do something versus when you can. Let me tell you right now, if you own a site, all right, this time period of 3 months to get a study, right now it's closer to 1 to 2 months. The industry is still hot if you've got the right patient mix and if you've got the right PIs. If a recession actually occurs like there was in 2008, 2009, it might take 6 months, 9 months, even a year to get a study. So you'd rather be a site right now figuring out how to get yourself studies than in the middle of a recession figuring out how to get studies. Everything's going to take longer. Same thing with you as a employee looking to level up your skill set. Everything's faster now, especially at the site level. Responsibilities are going up. Like, we can't, small clinics right now are struggling keeping up with the work. It's still super busy as small sites. So if you're an employee, you might want to look, maybe I should be at a small site because I can increase my skill set. Should there be a recession, I have a diversity of therapeutic areas that I work in. I have a diversity of platforms that I've worked on, the technologies. Shout out to the sponsors, Creo, Versatrel, Viva, Inato, 1N Health, right? You want to be playing with these tools and you want to be in a place at a company where you are exposed to these things, and that's the small sites. So hopefully this is like enough motivation for people if you're sitting on the fence thinking, oh, well, I really wanted to do this, but I don't know. Like, recessions are real. They do happen. I'm not saying one is going to happen, but if it does, you'd be better off following this advice of just taking action now. And if it doesn't, you'd still be better off following this advice of taking action now, because that means we're in a hot market. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Hopefully this helps somebody out. Bye-bye.